All right, people say that I talk really fast, so today my goal is to get through 50 frugal food tips. Let's go. And before you hear these and think, ain't nobody got time for that, just remember that just add one step principle. So for example, if you currently DoorDash your pizza, go pick it up. If you currently go pick up your pizza at Domino's, go to the store and get a frozen pizza and warm it up in your own oven. If you currently go get your frozen pizza at the store, go get some pre-made dough and all the toppings and make your own. And if you're really good and you're already doing that, make your own dough. Because even if you can't jump straight to make everything you eat from scratch, every step closer you get to that point is saving you money. Have a well-maintained pantry inventory, and then shop your pantry first before you make your grocery list or before you even make your meal plan. Next, keep a price book, which means yes, sometimes you'll need to make trips to multiple grocery stores to get the best deals on things, but only if it makes sense with gas price. In general, buy in bulk, but only if you know that it's actually saving you money. Which means, yes, you do need to look at unit prices for things. Add more beans, mushrooms, TVP, tofu, all of these other lower cost proteins to your diet to offset the costs of high meat prices. Or better yet, go totally meatless, even if it's just for 1 or 2 meals a week. Have a larger percentage of your diet be less expensive types of food. Chicken instead of steak. Cabbage instead of gourmet fingerling potatoes. Here's a trick if egg prices are getting you down. Use flaxseed, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, 3 tablespoons of water, let it sit until it gets that nice like gelatin consistency, and then use that in baking recipes where you might need an egg otherwise. By the way, is this video useful yet? You could leave a like if it is. Generic, please buy generic brand foods. They're, in most cases, the exact same product, just with a different label slapped on the front. Have a garden, especially for more expensive things like herbs and tomatoes. Focus less on things that are already cheap at the grocery store like onions or potatoes. Don't have enough room or property for a garden? Put stuff on your windowsill. Forage. Go outside in the wilderness where you're legally allowed to and just get free food from the wild. Also, you can check and see if there are any farms near you that offer gleaning programs, where as long as you do the work and go pick the food yourself, they just want to get it off their property, and then you have free food, or at least discounted food. Some farms, farmers market, farm stands also have like ugly fruit that is blemished or weird shaped, and sometimes those ugly fruits sell at a discount and you can get those and they taste the same. And if you're gonna have a garden, have a compost pile. Want to go a step further and never have to buy seeds again? Plant perennials like fruit trees or bushes of berries. And then they'll just keep giving you stuff every year. Learn to preserve your food, whether or not you have a garden. There are going to be times when you have a way to get a good deal on food, but you don't have enough time to eat it before it goes bad, so you need to know how to preserve it. 3 ways to do that. 1, get a chest freezer, because it's the easiest and the least skill involved for the most food preservation possible. You can learn to can. I'm terrible at that. I don't really do it, but you can learn. Or number 3, you can use a food dehydrator. And while we're on the topic of freezers, there's a few things you should be collecting in your freezer to save on money elsewhere in your food budget. You can collect bread scraps like the heels. Keeping all those bread scraps in the freezer or make for great breadcrumbs if you're gonna put them on top of casseroles or mix them in with meatballs. You can have a little baggie of all of your veggie scraps like onions and celery and carrots that you're gonna turn and boil into a broth later. And then you can save the bones from a big cut of meat that you cook, and then you can boil those bones and make stock so you don't have to buy like boiling cubes. Which means that if you have the bones, that means you bought the cheaper cut of meat, which is usually the bone in, skin on, and you saved even more at the grocery store. When you have your phone with you in the store, you can keep the calculator app open and just keep a running tally of what you're spending. That way you don't get sticker shock when you get to the register, and it's going to cut back on all of your impulse buys because you won't want to have to add that number in and realize it makes it go up. Or better yet, just don't go in the store and just do online shopping for pickup, delivery, whatever is the cheap option in your area. I know this is a really hard one for some people, but cut back on non-nutritious drink options like sugary fruit drinks and energy drinks and sodas. In the same vein, drinking less or no alcohol really cuts back on your grocery budget. Back to lunch. All right, thinking about meal planning here. Have a couple out of your back pocket. You can do it in a pinch. Magic transforming leftover meals. These are meals like soups, stir fries, casseroles, things that you can take a few bits and bobs from inside your fridge that need to get used up and just kind of whip them all up into one meal that's a brand new thing. And so no one's like, we have leftovers again? It's like, oh no, we've got brand new thing. And speaking of leftovers, I found this new idea over at Kate Caden's channel. Have a section of your fridge specifically called the Eat Me Next section. Another way to avoid food waste at meal times, charcuterie boards, also known as smorgasbord dinner night. Next, there are certain foods that are going to trigger your appetite. Things high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt. It's mostly going to be desserty stuff like cakes, cookies, pies, soda, also chips. Cutting those things out, or at least reducing them, is going to shrink your grocery bill because you won't have to buy so much to feel fuller. Or if you still feel the need to buy them, put the more filling things like fruits, whole grain breads out in the open where you can see them, and they're going to be the first things you see and think of. Or put the chips on the higher shelf or hidden behind like the raisins and peanut butter. Buy food when it's on a markdown sale. You can regrow some veggie scraps. If you buy berries or grapes, wait to wash them until right before you're about to eat them. They will stay in your fridge way longer if you don't wash them as soon as you get home. Also, eat produce seasonally. Make mixes, blends, spice combinations at home, like you can make taco mix. If you got babies at home, skip the baby food. They can eat the same mushy foods that you like bananas and mashed potatoes. Or if you do have to do some baby food, you can make it at home for pennies on the dollar. Make your coffee at home. All right, and as a last resort, you can use Cash Back App. As I mentioned in my last video on how our family became debt-free, stopping couponing actually saved us more money in the long run. However, there are occasions when using cashback apps like Ibotta, Fetch ends up saving you money. I just don't find that the kind of spending habits those cashback apps are encouraging you to have are consistent with ways that actually spend you the most money. For example, buying generic. If you're using the cashback apps, you almost 100% of the time need to be buying name brand products, which are more expensive, oftentimes more expensive than the generic brands of the same thing, even with the coupons and the rebates. And as long as you're not wasting a ton of time endlessly scrolling through these cashback apps for the rebates, you can make some money. For example, in the year 2022, I made $43 through Ibotta, almost $15 from the Fetch app. So if that kind of cashback money over the course of an entire year is worth it to you, I did leave my referral links in the description. What I do find is even more worthwhile is making sure that you've got the apps to your local grocery store and you're using them. One of my local grocery stores here in town, I saved $141 through digital coupons. Plus they gave me $51 cash back for using their generic name brand products, which is my favorite invention ever. With another store in town, I started using their app in the fall of 2020 and I saved $113. So all told, through coupons, and using the apps of the local grocery stores in town, I saved $250 this year, which isn't bad. Bonus, I actually got you 51 ideas in this video. Ha, you're welcome. If you live in a place that will charge for paper or plastic bags, bring your own. 5 cents a bag doesn't seem like that much, but over the course of an entire year, how many grocery bags do you use? So bring your own. I did it! Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about any of the ideas I have, leave them in comments. I'm going to be answering them. Or if you want a way deeper dive on any of those points because you need way more information, let me know that too. I'm planning on turning a couple of those individual points into their own videos. Bye, YouTube.